Robert, nice to see you.
It's an honor.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I appreciate you coming by.
You're on the subcommittee for Internet and Telecommerce, and we're getting around to see all sorts of different people here in the great state of Washington, D.C., and or the District of Washington, D.C. And I'm trying to get a sense of your world from my world, because that's why Andrew Feinberg invited me here. Was the tech bloggers don't really understand what goes on here.
Well, they should, and let me compliment you for coming, because I chair what's called the Telecommunication Internet. It's part of a subcommittee on the energy and commerce, but I have the ranking Republican position for this very important position, which deals with the FCC, which deals with every type of issue, including the auctioning off the analog from the new DVD transition. As you know, we're transitioning from the analog to the high-definition television on February 17, 2009.
Yeah.
So we're going to auction off that 700 megahertz, which is going to expand the use for the cell phones, the third and fourth generation wireless. So all that comes through my subcommittee, as well as anything you can imagine dealing with the internet. So in this office, we've had the CEOs of almost every company in Silicon Valley, and I visited eBay and all those folks. So it's an exciting position to have.
If Larry Page or Jerry Yang was sitting here, what would they be pitching you on? What would they be trying to get you to do?
Well, I think what they want to see is leave them alone. They don't want to see the government have more mandates. There's lots of bills here that would affect them dramatically. So, I mean, a bill, for example, I can give you that's coming up is concerning cell phones. The National Association for Blind wants to be able to use cell phones, and right now it's not disability helpful. Yeah. And so this could be huge mandates on the cell phone manufacturers as well as the software companies. So the implication of taking your cell phone to allow a person who's blind to use it has enormous implications, and that all comes through this subcommittee, which means that all these people would be affected if the mandates were such that it would be impossible to do. So we try to make sure that the government does not impede or thwart their efforts, and let the market, in many ways, take care of the problems. And some of the software companies, including Google and Microsoft, are taking care of this through innovative technology on the cell phone for people who are blind.
Wow. What's happening in bandwidth? And because we just met with the Cable Association, I bet the CEO we interviewed would sit right here. And
Cox Cable and Comcast and Time Warner have all been in. You know, there's getting to be in the industry the concept of the 100 megabyte nation. I think most people who have broadband through their cable or through their telephone or through the satellite is getting maybe up to 5 megabytes speed, but now there's something that could be as 20 times as fast as that. And of course, with that becomes a lot of downloading and piracy and privacy, as well as data security. And so that all comes through this subcommittee, protecting not only the consumers, but also protecting the companies from intellectual property right theft. And there's a big feeling from the National Motion Pictures Association that this huge broadband that we will have in America, people will be able to download DVDs in seconds, and the Blockbusters of the world will be gone because everybody can say through their broadband what movie they want, and they can put in their predilections for different movies, and the broadband will tell them through artificial intelligence which ones they'd like. They could download it in 2 or 3 seconds, and it'll be cheap. So that whole idea of a broadband nation up to 100 megabytes will be very strong impact on all these companies.
Netflix is already starting to do that, right? And
That's
so
right.
is Apple with iTunes. You can buy movies for a couple bucks, few bucks, and
Right.
watch them locally.
And Blockbuster's trying to catch up because they have their own program too.
Yeah. What would you say to the geeks who watch my show or live in Silicon Valley or Austin or Atlanta?
Well, I have a lot of
they
respect
probably-
for the geeks. Yeah, I'm an electrical engineer by background. I don't know if you know this,
No.
but I have a
My dad
double
is.
E degree. In fact, I think I'm the only electrical engineer. We have a quantum physics PhD, but I'm the only electrical engineer in Congress on the Senate or the House side. And of course, I have a Mac office. There's only 3 Mac
My
offices.
son was very impressed.
Right. We have the newest screen here, which is just a beautiful object. So being one of 3 out of 535 members of Congress, I think gives us a little innovative advantage because we use it in so many ways that a lot of members can't use it, not just dealing with our mail and dealing with telephone town meetings, but also dealing with recording of information, whether I'm on the House floor in a subcommittee. And so we have all this capability because I think Mac is primarily an innovative, intuitive kind of machine, which I think gives us a certain advantage and certainly makes us feel on the cutting edge.
Some of your fellow congressmen are actually using cell phones to do live video now.
Oh, yes.
John Culbertson, we interviewed him yesterday, and we did a quick video with him, and he's
Really?
using, him and Tim Ryan are using Twitter to
Oh,
talk to
Twitter,
each other.
yep, I know. I know sometimes in the cloakroom, members are using Twitter to really get out to the public and say this is what's happening, really happening on the House floor, and not necessarily what you might hear on C-SPAN. Yeah. So it's another form of communication and extending democracy.
You mentioned innovation a little bit with Apple. How do we keep our R&D workers here? Because that's one thing that CEOs keep talking to me about. It's like, hey, we can't hire enough here. The people that are going to school here, some of them have to go back home to their home countries, and we can't keep them working here in the United States and keep their salaries here in the United States. Obviously, if they go back to Israel or go back to China or India.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a very, Bob, it's a very important issue because they're all trained here and they're leaving the United States and going back to their own countries and competing with us. So why don't we give them the advantage to stay here? And I support some type of visa program that would give a preferential treatment to these people that have the advanced degrees, which would help us with our research and development here in this country.
Yeah. What other issues should we be concerned about? You know, the tech industry, the geeks who work around the world. What should we be concerned about, or what should we be talking to you about? What should we be emailing you about so you get better feedback about what we care about?
Well, I think you know, the fact that we're going to have broadband deployment and we're going to have high definition television, and the fact that the 3rd and 4th generation wireless, what that's going to do is open up for the people that are listening to this interview enormous new opportunities for software and for innovative techniques to speed not only communication but to bring in a whole new means of operation. Specifically, I toured the Nanotechnology Center at the University of Florida. I represent them, and they're talking about a whole revolution in nanotechnology. Yeah. You combine that with artificial intelligence and together with broadband that's coming through new speeds. In fact, there's a new internet speed called the grid. They're talking about 10,000 times to find the speed we now have. So you combine that as an overlay, I think the people that are listening to you have nowhere but huge amount of advantages and opportunities that we can't even see today. So I think that from those people will be the new companies. And I think, you know, that I was on the Telecom Act of 1996 where we changed things, and I think there's going to be another revolution in which these people will be at the forefront.
Yeah. One last question. What's your view on network neutrality, and what should we be talking to you about there?
Network neutrality, when Republicans were in control, we passed a bill that had the language of net neutrality. And it's bipartisan. It passed out of this subcommittee that I am the ranking member and the full committee. It just never passed the Senate. We passed it on the floor, the House. The whole question is, should we have network management done by companies And is this going to discriminate against some software companies over the other? My personal opinion, I think the market's working as it is. We don't have net neutrality language in place with our cell phone, and obviously iPhone is very popular, and we don't see that. But also, lots of times with the speeds we have today, sometimes you have to control the actual management. For example, if somebody is downloading a huge file and this is disrupting the network, then somehow you have to have some network.
That's me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you have to have some kind of management, and you know, whether you go into a hospital or whether you go into a corporation or anywhere, there's some kind of management, and it's a voluntary, much like traffic is voluntary. I think there's a way to strike the correct balance here so that everyone can get on without anybody just being discriminated on.
Yeah. Next year we're going to have a new president, and that's going to change. How is that going to change your world?
Well, I
Whether
think
it's
whether
McCain
it's
or
Republican or Democrat, I think energy is going to be the big concern.
Yeah.
And how
gas prices are hot right now.
Right, gas prices. We just had a couple of companies in here that use a railroad and truckers, and the trucking industry is being hit very hard with the increased cost of diesel and gasoline. So in the end, I think energy is going to be a very important issue in which the people that are listening who are providing more productivity can help enhance our independence from this gasoline and diesel.
Okay. Well, I know you have a vote to get to.
All right.
So
thanks, Robert.
thank you very much for spending a few minutes of your time with me.
Nice to see you.